Hey guys, I'm Laura Giles. Thanks for tuning in. Talking about Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street today. And Jordan is the main character in The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie that most people have seen and maybe have watched over and over again. If this is you, stay tuned and see what you can learn about yourself because life's a mirror. And I want to make it clear that Jordan's a real person, but is not my client. Anything that I'm saying is referring to the character from the book and the movie, not the real person. As you know, people make movies to entertain and make money, and stories that are quote unquote based on a true story may not look anything like the truth at all. In fact, Jordan's ex wife, Naomi, even said that most of what's in the book isn't true. So we're talking about a fictional character to help us understand human nature through stories. Cool. Not about the real person whom I've never met. Now, one of the things I found really interesting about Jordan is that he appears pretty straight laced at first. He's 22, married, pretty square. He doesn't drink, doesn't use drugs, and as far as we know, doesn't engage in any criminal activity or have any inclinations of the sort. His wife is a hairdresser, so she appears pretty down to earth too. He is interested in making big money and goes to Wall Street because he thinks that this is where big money can be found. And the way he portrays it, he's wide eyed and innocent, but he's driven. So, how does someone go from being this straight laced to a full blown narcissist? If there wasn't a transformation, there would be no story, or at least it'd be a boring story. So, let's look at the theory of company. Did you have a mom who said that you couldn't hang out with someone because they're a bad influence? This is what I'm talking about. People aren't born monsters. We don't throw dwarves at dartboards when we come out of the womb. At some point, we're all innocent. There's a saying that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I really believe that. You share their ideas, religion, socioeconomic status, and medical status, all of that. And if this isn't what you want, you may want to reconsider your friends. So, is it true? Well, let's look at Jordan. His moral decline started when he started working on Wall Street. His first day on the job, he meets the Matthew McConaughey character who's way over the top. Jordan asks him how he can drink martinis at lunch and snort cocaine at the table and still function. And his response is cocaine and hookers. And then he tells him he has to stay relaxed and that he does this by masturbating several times a day. So, first day on the job, he's indoctrinating Jordan in the narcissistic culture by normalizing the idea of people using other people's trusting nature and dreams against them to steal their money. He basically says it's your job to move their money into your pocket. He also shows him that rich and powerful people can enjoy sex, alcohol, and drugs. So he ends up being the first role model for what rich and successful looks like. And Jordan bought it hook, line, and sinker. Not only does he want to be successful, he wants to look successful. So the stock market crashes the first day on the job. And Jordan, the first day that he gets his license, I think. Okay, so he was there a little while. But Jordan loses his job and his wife helps him to find another one selling penny stocks on Long Island, which is like a far cry from where he was, but it's a job in the stock market. And what turns him on about that is that this is where Jordan hits the jackpot because the commission is 50%. And he's a great salesman. So when Jordan's making $70,000 a month, that's $840,000 a year, he meets Donnie Azoff, who asks him for a job. And he takes him on. And this is where a huge shift occurs because Donnie introduces him to cocaine and Quaaludes. So up to now, Jordan's not doing any of that. He's just chasing the financial heights. But now he's going after emotional ones too. He wants that adrenaline surge. And he enters into full-fledged addiction that involves power, sex, drugs, status, and adrenaline. And now that he has the power, his ambition becomes an obsession. He doesn't stop with just one employee. He starts to hire more people like him who are greedy, impulsive, and wild and don't care about other people and have no scruples about taking advantage of people to make a buck. In fact, in the movie, there's people lining up. When he is exposed as the Wolf of Wall Street, I think it was Essence magazine, people line up to work with him. So There's no shortage of people like this who just see the dollar signs and say, I want that too. So these people that are working with him, they're not seasoned stockbrokers. These are yes men, addicts, and hustlers who only validate Jordan's worst impulses. They don't challenge him. They encourage him to double down and keep doing what he's doing. And all the while, he's cheating on his wife, and he finds this model who completes that look. And his wife divorces him, and he gets the trophy wife who looks great on his arm. So now you could say he's really arrived. And when his wife goes, the first wife, all semblance of the normal, grounded, hardworking person that he once was is just gone. Jordan becomes a reckless, overindulgent kingpin because his social circle changes. Now he's essentially the leader of a cult. When your social circle looks like this, your sense of what is normal is severely warped. It's not normal to use drugs all day long, every day, to have strippers at work, literally throw dwarves at a dartboard. But there's no checks and balances because this is normal for this group, and they all feed off of each other's energy, and they all lose their sense of identity to become one of the herd. And Jordan is the leader of the herd, but he's still no longer his own person. He's part of the herd too. So is this how narcissism happens? Or could it be because of Jordan's childhood? So the first time we see Jordan's father, he's yelling and dropping F-bombs because the phone rings during a TV show and he wants to watch the show. When he reaches the phone, he adopts a British accent and becomes docile. And I was thinking, what the heck is going on here? And then once he's off the phone, he goes back to cursing and screaming again. It's like flipping a switch. It's crazy. Imagine growing up with that dude. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I would never know which version I'm going to get. I would always be walking on eggshells, so my nervous system is in high alert all the time. Dad's out of control. Mom's kind of invisible in the story. So I would probably have to figure out how to survive in this situation and take control. So it makes sense that Jordan would have been a rule abider and straight laced as a younger person. I'd want to stay out of trouble and not get my dad's attention too, unless it was to get dad's praise. And this is exactly what the movie shows. Jordan hires his dad to work for him. Now, Max Belfort is loud, opinionated, and constantly on Jordan's case. He yells at him about expenses. He challenges him in front of others and tries to warn him about his illegal activities. But he really has no teeth. Jordan knows this and placates him. It's a way of showing others that Jordan has all the power. This is a dynamic that likely started in childhood. So, what does little Jordan learn as a kid from this? First, that rules are negotiable. You just have to learn how to manipulate. And he does this with his dad. His dad storms and rages. Jordan sometimes laughs at him, sometimes agrees with him, and the threat goes away. This lulls Jordan into a false sense of security. The second thing that Jordan learns from this is that the person that controls the money has the power. So, doesn't it make sense that Jordan's whole life would be about acquiring money? With people like this, they have an emotional belief that if they have a set amount of money, they'll be safe. And there's never enough money to make them feel safe. When we have a hole inside, nothing outside can fill that. Not money, not drugs, not companionship, nothing. And I suspect that that is why Jordan kept bringing more and more people into the fold. Sure, it helped him to make more money, but his staff worshiped him. He didn't get approval from his dad, so he had to get it elsewhere, and his wife only approved sometimes. His staff and his hookers always gave him respect, attention, and affection. I think that Jordan also had a desire to outdo his father. His father's smart, but not rich. When Jordan not only makes a lot of money, it gives his father the ability to live well too, and Max has that because of Jordan's generosity. Jordan succeeds in proving that he's somebody. Anytime you have the biggest house, the Lamborghini, the biggest yacht, the prettiest wife, and all that flash, there's always going to be insecurity behind that and a need to be noticed. I live in old money country, and there are a lot of people around who have money, but you'd never know it by looking at them. They're pretty laid back, approachable, and don't stand out. They don't have anything to prove. So it's not about power or money corrupts. It's more about money allows you to be more of what you already are. It gives you the power to be yourself. And this is exactly what Jordan does. There's a theory now that addiction isn't about genetics. It's not a disease. It's a manifestation of loneliness and a lack of a connected community. There were studies in the 1970s about rats and addiction, and researchers gave rats in isolated cages a water bottle and a water laced with heroin. And the solitary rats would take heroin until it killed them. They just push the button, click, 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 and just drink, 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 drink until they were dead. Then they had these rats that were in community. So there was a bunch of them. They had stuff to play on, food. There were boy rats and girl rats. And they put the water and the heroin laced water in there, and they didn't get addicted. And they just drank water. So even if they did do drugs, they never got addicted and never used until they died. So what does that tell us? Connection is the root of addiction. So Jordan's problem wasn't that he needed more money, flashy clothes, or a penthouse apartment. He needed genuine love and care. And even when it's present, that's not something that a narcissist can easily receive. Our formative years are super important. They set the tone for the rest of our lives because they teach us about who we are, where we belong, and how to navigate in the world. But these strategies are typically invisible to us. We may not even realize that we're insecure or that we have this need to be seen or loved and can't receive love. And I don't say this to blame our parents. Max Belfort is only doing what his childhood equipped him to do. But if we don't take an honest look and grow beyond our limitations, we make our kids and society a byproduct of our brokenness. Max probably thought that yelling was the best way to get across his desires. It works for him, he does it. But since he has no boundaries and didn't mean what he said, Jordan just ignored him. And then he ignored the SEC and the FBI. And that didn't get him very far. So Dad taught him that looks matter more than actions. As long as Jordan said yes, he could do whatever he wanted in the background. It's like a wink and a nod. They're both outwardly agreeing to the rules and then acting like the show is all that matters, not the rule themselves. Because remember, Max profited from the whole thing too. He knew what was going on. He was the accountant and he took the money. So it's all about optics. If you appear obedient, you don't actually have to be obedient, basically. So Jordan's upbringing likely had a lot of impact on his blossoming into a narcissist. And we're talking about the character, remember, right? And I'm speculating about his childhood because the movie doesn't actually show that, but we can guess that it was pretty confusing. What else could it be if dad is screaming about this one minute and then acting like, nice to someone else the next moment, like it never even happened? It's saying, my feelings don't matter. I can't be honest, and there's no absolute truth. Yikes, right? How does a person find their way with no firm ground beneath their feet? If dad can send mixed messages, then Jordan can too. He can tell his wife that he loves her while sleeping with countless prostitutes. He can tell his clients that he has a hot stock tip for them while knowing that the stock isn't going to go anywhere. He can rationalize that it's not wrong because everybody does it. And they were involved in this pump and dump thing. So they would buy some stock at a low price and then tell all their clients to buy it to raise the price and then sell stock to drop the price. So they would make out on their clients' loss. That's illegal. And they were all doing that. And do you see any emotional warmth between Jordan and his parents, or Jordan and either wife or his kids? I see possession and ownership, not relationship or warmth. When Max talks to Jordan, he lectures him, talks at him, and is frustrated with him, and he tries to control him. But there isn't one moment that I saw of genuine love and care. I suspect neither of them have it to give. They just don't know how to give or receive it. And one way to control people is to rage. And we see Max and Jordan do that. Jordan doesn't have calm negotiation. It's either a sales pitch or a violent, stormy tirade. Max taught him to be big, loud, and dominate the room. And this is how you're heard. He never apologizes and never backs down. There's a really impactful scene in the movie where Jordan was saying goodbye to his employees. He's supposed to step down, but as he's talking, there's some cognitive dissonance. He realizes that he has taught his employees to never accept no as an answer, and here he is doing just that. It's untenable. And he says, no, I'm not going to do that. And he makes the feds chase him. And lots of people grow up with a parent, or maybe they are the parent who communicates through threats, control, fear, sarcasm, and jokes. I've had a lot of uh, critical parents who didn't realize that they are critical because they think that what they're doing is to be helpful or because their tone is gentle. And everybody knows when they have approval and when they don't. Parenting in this way produces kids who struggle with authority, either by challenging it or having trouble assuming their own. They need attention and approval. They confuse power for love, or maybe they just need to rebel to feel alive, separate, or independent. And this is not about blame. It is what it is. And I'm sharing this so that you can understand and change the dynamic if it's something that's impacting you. The only way that humans can live in society with others is to have boundaries. We have to respect each other, to see each other and value each other because we all contribute to something. And we want to be those rats in that rat park that are just chilling with all the love around us and not need all that extra stimulation. So we need to show up and share our light with the world. It's what we're here for. We each have something fabulous to give. And if we can't do that, then we hide our light under a bushel. And that's not what we're here for. Okay, cool. So, can you now see the Wolf of Wall Street with a different lens? Maybe you see yourself or someone else in a different, more complete, hopefully more compassionate lens. Now I want to end with hope. So I'm going to give you 5 suggestions on how to avoid getting swindled by people like Jordan Belfort. Okay. So Jordan didn't learn his lesson in the movie. He gets busted, turns on his friends and colleagues, and does 3 years in jail. Now he has to make a living somehow, and he can't do it in the stock market anymore. So what does he do? He's a motivational speaker for salespeople. This is definitely my bias, but I viewed that last scene as not one of redemption, but the same old song in a different disguise. I once attended a seminar for real estate investors to make huge amounts of money in a short time. And this is before the real estate bust of 2008. Real estate was hot. People were making tons of money. We had sold our house, and I think we made about $200,000 profit on it. I think. I don't really remember, but they were saying that you could do this over and over again by leveraging. And I can't remember the details of the plan, but it was something like you spend money up front, flip a property somehow, and then make a ton of money. Sounds amazing. People were definitely making money from real estate, and we had even done it, but something didn't feel right. And when I sat down with it, I realized that it was because we never talked about the downside. So, what if you didn't sell the property? What if interest rates changed? What if? So I passed on this get rich quick scheme, and that's exactly what happened. I could have lost tons of money on a property that I couldn't sell because the economy shifted, or just that I bought the wrong property at the wrong time in the wrong place. So, tip number 1 is to accept that there are no get rich quick schemes. Yes, you could win the lottery or do something else to get you a huge windfall in a short period of time. But people believe that what they want to believe. And the way that con men or women get you is to make you believe your dream could be true. You want to believe them, so you give them your money. And there aren't fairies going around granting wishes. There aren't legal ways to turn $1 into 1,000. If there were, we'd all have it. So if it sounds too good to be true, probably is. So 2, don't confuse confidence with credibility. So if I remember right, when Justin recruits his friends as the first employees, he's coaching them on how to sell. And one of the things he says is to be overwhelmingly confident. And this makes people doubt themselves and trust you. That's human nature. We trust authority. And if you appear to be the authority in the room, what you have to say is going to have greater weight than what I think. It's okay to doubt, be skeptical, and say no. It's okay to miss the deal of the century. I just shared how I walked away from a bad deal, but I have also walked away from what was likely good ones because I'm skeptical. I'm okay with that. Because what that means is I let my authority matter more than anyone else's. And it's my life. That's how it should be. If I want to make my life, I have to make my choices and deal with the consequences, good or bad. So 3, don't let yourself be pressured by someone else's urgency. I was shopping for a car a couple of years ago and I really wanted a Honda Civic Type R, but there was no inventory. The cars were selling for 5,000 above sticker if you could find one. So I found one. And I went down to see it and I connected with a brand new salesperson. And he got the keys and we started to drive it. And then we got called back and told we had to turn around. So they weren't allowing any test drives. And I thought, what? Why? Well, who, when, how? How do you not allow a test drive? And they just refused. They said you had to buy it or not buy it based on your own research and what it looked like on paper. So here's a high pressure situation. This is the car that I want. It's in stock. It's right in front of me. I'm touching it. It's beautiful. Love the way it feels and sounds. I have the money. And if I walk away, surely it's not going to be there tomorrow. At least that's what I think. So what do you think I did? I walked away. I don't do high pressure sales. Buying a high dollar item is more than just about getting what you want. For me, it's about feeling good about the whole process, and I didn't feel good about it. The sales guy was weird. He didn't communicate well. They wouldn't let me drive it. And I asked for a copy of the invoice to get the cashier's check and come back, and they refused to get it to me. So I walked out. Even if it's a $5 purchase, we all deserve the space to make up our own minds with no pressure. We all owe it to ourselves to show up with transparency and joy and to get that from other people. So 4, get a second opinion from someone with no skin in the game. Getting close to things that you want, those dreams of a lifetime, can cloud your thinking. It gets us in our emotion and mind, and that is not the best place to make decisions, whether they're about love or money or anything else. Asking a third party, how does this look to you, could lead to some surprising things that you've overlooked. And this could be a friend, a family member, a financial advisor, a lawyer, anybody with more knowledge about the thing that you're considering. Or it doesn't even have to be somebody with more knowledge, just different knowledge. And it could save you time and money and give you peace of mind. I know someone who had made a long distance love connection online, and it was a whirlwind courtship with lots of promises made. And it turned out that this person wasn't who they said they were. They were already married and they were just out for themselves. I think this happens all the time. So keep your feet on the ground and don't keep secrets. There's no downside to talking it out with a third party. And my 5th suggestion is to ask dumb questions or obvious questions and listen to the answers. Truth is simple. It's clear. It's not convoluted, complicated, jargony, or vague. And narcissists and conmen rely on plausible deniability to mask their deception. They use doublespeak to get you off the scent. A very common scam is meeting someone new who can never text you at night, or you can never go to their house. This person is with someone else. That's obvious. They might even be living with them, but they certainly spend their evenings with someone else. That's the most obvious reason why you can't call, text, or come over. And yet people get strung along with excuses like, I don't like calling or texting, or I turn my phone off after work to unplug, or my phone was on silent, or my battery ran out. Like all the time? A trustworthy person is consistent, available, respectful, and they answer simple questions with simple answers that don't raise red flags. Occam's razor is a philosophical principle that says the most obvious answer is usually the true one. And when you have to make assumptions, fill in the blanks, and jump over hoops to get a statement to be true, it's probably because it isn't. I'd never blame the victim, but there were warning signs that Jordan Belfort was not a trustworthy guy. People like him steal lots of people's money and break lots of people's hearts. You can't foresee it all, but with a little awareness, you can prevent most of it. Hope this was helpful. Now, before I go, I want to make one more comment about The Wolf of Wall Street that most people miss. The film is largely in first person. It starts with Jordan talking about himself. and it brings the audience in for the ride. And judging by the reviews, it does a great job of it. The ratings are sky high. People love this movie. They get drawn into the fast paced, fun, beautiful lifestyle. And as Jordan and his friends suspend their morals, so does the audience. Scorsese does a brilliant job of glamorizing the lifestyle while showing it in all its depravity and toxicity, and yet we don't turn it off. No, the audience rationalizes it and they say it's just entertainment, or they dismiss the toxicity because it's Jordan's story and he's the hustler. But the whole time you're being sold to, you're being conned. When you get to the end, you see the FBI guy riding the subway to work, reading a newspaper that has a paragraph about all his hard work. And here's Justin, still doing his thing with a different audience. And where do your loyalties lie? Who's the fascinating character that has your attention? Who do you want to have lunch with? Who do you want to be? Justin or the FBI guy? So, as with all great movies, the movie isn't about the character, it's about you. So, let me know your favorite movie in the comments, and I may do a psychological profile of it the next video. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao.